8 o'clock on the start of a Wednesday morning. Glad you're with us for Second Cup. A lot going on this morning and a lot that we want to dig into. We're going to be talking about the top jobs for entry-level applicants. We want to hear from you about how much you love your pet on this National Pet Week and why. We're going to be talking about reconstruction on Jefferson Avenue, but we also want to dig into this breaking news that we've been following for you all morning long. Now learning about a deadly crash on Niagara Street early this morning. This is right near Marco's, Tim Hortons, right on Niagara Street.
So let's just say this has been a busy couple of news days. And you were coming in this morning, so you drive that way.
Yeah, so I drive through the West Side to get to work, and I kept seeing lights, police flashing lights. You know, you can look down and you see like through, you know.
So something took you off your regular course.
Not even. It was just like I was driving down. I saw, like, I was looking down the streets perpendicular to where I was, and I could see lights blocking things off.
So then you headed down.
So I went down to Niagara Street, like I normally do, and saw that there were like a ton of cars, cop cars, just lined up blocking the street. I'm like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
So I went, it started investigating, took my phone out, and saw that there was this white car parked on the east side of Niagara Street that was really, really banged up. So I got some video of that from early this morning. And like I said, I mean, there were a ton of police cars out there.
So Ed shot this video overnight, and we kind of were trying to develop some information. So here you can see it. And if you look closely, you can see the white car in probably like the next shot. There you go. It's to the right of that police car. So that's what he sees. So that's a clearer shot. So we sent our morning show crew, Adam and Alex, there afterwards so they could check out what was going on, you know, in the daylight once, you know, police have been there for a while. So we do have Adam there. He's at the scene right now. Adam, come on in, join us, and let us know what you've learned since you've been out there.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Yeah, so the scene is not active in terms of like any cars or anybody trying to get anything out. They cleared that out, but they still have the road closed right now. So Niagara Street is closed from Albany Street. As you see, cars are turning onto this side street here. I forgot what road this is right here, but yeah, onto Albany Street right here. It's closed up here, and then it's also closed at School Street down the road. I spoke to a Buffalo police officer that is on scene right now, and he told me that this was a fatal crash that happened this morning. There's no other information that he was able to give me in terms of exactly like what happened and stuff like that. All I know is that this was a fatal crash. And actually, if we walk, I'm going to walk up a little bit as I was kind of like scavenging the scene a little bit. You could see skid marks all come across right here into the side of the road. And there's all this damage all across right here in front of some of the homes. So to assume that this is where this happened, I don't want to assume, but just looking at the skid marks and seeing some of the damage up here by the trash cans, I'm going to keep walking up forward. This is probably where it happened, but right now what I do have confirmed from a Buffalo police officer on scene is that it was a fatal crash, but there's no other information that he was able to give me. So you can kind of see all along right here what happened.
Now, Adam, maybe what you can do is walk up to that porch, because you can see Buffalo Police accident investigators have marked off certain parts of where this accident actually happened. So Adam, that porch right there, exactly. If you look at the ground here, you can see how they
right here.
Yeah, but if you also look at the orange marks, you could see how they diagram and what they're actually trying to mark down as they investigate here. So, you know, that is a tire mark there. You know, whatever else happened here, but they're marking off certain things as they conduct their investigation.
So, and Adam, that section of the street's still closed right now. So for people who are headed that way, and again, landmark, it's like you said, right in front of Marco's restaurant on Niagara Street. And some people come down Niagara Street to get into the city.
So it's going to be one of those days where you need to kind of divert yourself off of Niagara Street. You could go down any one of those side streets, go down west, go down West Ferry, exactly, and just kind of sneak your way through to get to downtown. So as of right now, we know this is a deadly crash. We don't know how this happened, who was
How many people
exactly.
were involved, right?
But I did reach out to Buffalo Police to try and get some information from the spokesperson, Mike DeGeorge, and I'm yet to hear back. I mean, I reached out to him this morning about 3:30. So as we get more information, we'll keep you posted. Adam, as you're seeing it right now, though, I mean, people are being diverted, right?
Ed, your mic is mumbled. I can't understand what you're saying.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
I got you now. Hold on.
Adam, we were just saying that people were being diverted still off the street and away from the scene of the accident.
Yeah, most people are still being diverted. Right now, the cars that have been let through are people that are working. So people coming into Neighborhood Health Center and Best Health, they've been trying to get into work. Some of the Tim Hortons employees have also been trying to get in. So for employees that actually do work on this little strip right here, they've been able to get in, but everybody else has been diverted onto Albany Street and to School Street on the other side of the road over here.
All right. Well, we'll continue to work to get some more information on this accident. We do, again, know it was a deadly accident. Don't know how many people involved. Don't know anything about the victim. So, Adam, thank you for your reporting from the scene there.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about some happy news right now. How about that?
It's been a tough couple of days.
I
here.
know, a lot going on here in Buffalo and frankly all across Western New York. National Pet Week.
Love.
Everyone loves their pets, right? But did you know that they
But
could have
what?
health benefits not only for your dog, but for you as well? It turns out that a lot of people who have a dog are often getting outside more than perhaps they were.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine. I mean, like, if I didn't take my dog out for walks, that's a no-no. He's going nutso in the house. So we get out, we do a nice walk. And you know what I was saying to Ed before too, not only the benefits of getting out and getting outside and, you know, getting your steps in, but also for us, it's been a benefit of getting to know people in our neighborhood.
Right, exactly. It kind of creates a community. Everyone wants to see the dog. Everyone wants to be part of that kind of
Because beyond that, I
excitement.
throw my headphones on, right?
Right.
Maybe go for a run or do whatever, but like not when you're walking the dog.
Jeanette says, it always seems like National Pet Week. Stephen, good morning to you. We're glad you're with us. You know, the physical benefits are also, I don't know, have an impact on your mental health.
Sure.
Gets you out there, gets you moving.
When you see a dog, a cat, if you're an animal lover, like, aren't you just like, oh, look
Yes,
at
of
you?
course. I want to scratch the dog.
Uh-huh.
Anita says, my dog was already out for a ride today.
Mhm.
Mary says, the pups are doing so well. Last week, they figured out how to remove each other's cone. That was it. Oh, gosh.
Isn't it
That's
shocking
so
the
funny.
stuff they figure out?
Cheryl says, National Pet Day is every day. I just posted a picture of Gladys. Miss Gladys has been with us for almost a year now. I was just going through my picture
A
history.
sweet little princess.
Yes, we met her for the first time on May 16th.
And you were like, I love her. And Russ was like, okay,
Right. I was surprised he said yes. to
whatever
get
you
her.
want.
Right. Yeah. Wouldn't that be
Whatever you
nice?
want, honey.
Yes. If only.
Happy wife, happy life.
So you can follow me on Instagram at Dranch TV. I just posted that picture of her. She's doing a really nice sit.
Now, let me just ask, do you have any idea how far Gladys is? She's tiny. She's got tiny little legs. Like, how far does she usually like to walk?
It really depends. On my birthday, I took her for a long walk through the park.
So, like 2 miles.
Probably from my house, we walked all the way down to the park, and I walked her by the arch and then back, like kind of toward Delaware. It was a far walk.
You mean to Delaware Park?
Yes.
Wow, that's a really far walk for her.
Toward the end, she was looking at
She
me.
let you know that it was a far walk?
Yeah. She's like, are we done yet, fool? Like,
Uh-huh.
I'm over this.
So Bandit's not big into the heat. In the fall, when it's like a nice cool, let's say like 50 to 60,
He's good to go.
We're good to go. Yesterday, a little warm for him. Took him around Hoyt Lake with my mom. And towards the end, he found himself a shade spot, plopped himself down, and just rolled onto his back when I tried to get him to move. I was like, okay,
Done.
You're just doing this now.
Jeff Baker says Sonny gets a 2-mile walk when the weather's nice. Obviously not with me. It's what he says. No, Jeff, I don't believe that for a second.
No, oh, please. You know Clarissa went out walking him.
Connie says Bandit would not like it in Florida.
No.
Florida.
Yeah.
So funny.
Taylor Swift, baby.
Danielle says
no.
my dog is 13, so walking is not his thing anymore. He stays in the yard.
That's cool. And then you know what? After they go for a walk, aren't they so pooped and they just like to like lay there?
Yeah.
And even when Bandit's hot, he's like laying in the sun. I'm like, bro. Except for when he's outside, then he finds the shade.
You don't call him bro.
Bro.
Paul calls him bro. He goes, bruh,
Bruh.
bruh.
Yeah, he doesn't call him that. He calls him Band, and then he has this song about like his paw. Paul
Sing it.
messes with Bandit so bad. Bandit lays on his little window, and sometimes his paw is like this. the song's different every day, but it's basically Paul coming in and he'll be like, "What do I see? I see a little paw. I'm gonna get that little paw." And the dog's like, and like pulls it in, and then Paul will like pinch his little toes and he goes nuts. And I just sit there and sip my coffee and watch him run around.
Oh, well, they love each other.
That's our house.
Zoo. I love it.
Totally normal, everybody. Does anyone else sing songs to their dog?
Yes, of
We do it
course.
all the time.
Well, I tell Gladys that I'm never ever going to let anybody hurt her again. And so I sing
Do you say it in song form?
sometimes, but Megan Thee Stallion, you know how much I like her. She has that song Body.
Uh-huh.
Body, yaddy, yaddy, yaddy. It's not called Body. It's like Hot Girl, Girls in the Hood, I think. So I sing Gladdy, yaddy, yaddy, yaddy. And every part of that song is relating to her. And so we just go on and off. I also sing to her how she's my sunshine. I just love her. She's just a sweet little innocent baby girl.
Totally normal, everyone.
Russ could take
Thank
or
you,
leave
Crystal.
her.
Sings to all the fur babies.
Yes, exactly. Linda says we were at an outdoor concert. My friend brought her dog. She wasn't paying attention to her dog, and the dog decided to get her attention. She'd run a little ways, sit down and wait, still no attention, so went a little further. She got a little too far. I told my friend, and she yelled at her dog, and she came running back so fast.
Oh my God, how cute. That's cute. Shannon says in Florida, they walk early in the day before the sunrise. It's an adjustment, but it beats the heat.
There you go.
I like to do that too. I don't like it when some of the blacktop gets too
hot.
hot. Yeah. Watch your little feet.
Dog walker, a good job if you are looking for some exercise or to pick up some extra cash. But there are a number of places that you could go and get an entry-level job, like, say, a nursing home, for instance, because all of those jobs are open and available right now as a certified nursing assistant. A CNA, I believe is what they're called. And it's all because they don't think robots are going to take over those jobs. Now, on the other hand, it's not necessarily a high-paying job.
Okay, so it's college graduation time, which is kind of a look at us talking about these different jobs and kind of where things stand. So we wanted to take a look at, if I graduate with X degree, what am I making? What are some of the highest and what are some of the lowest?
Well, if you graduate with a communications degree,
yeah.
Lord knows you're not making anything.
Okay. Thank you, Ed. Here are some of the highs. Average starting salaries, numbers in Western New York. This is from ZipRecruiter, okay? Because John looked them up for us. Some of the highs. A drilling engineer.
What does that mean? Who is that? What does that person
If that's
do?
you, hopefully you know it is. You make $111,000 a year. That's a starting salary number. A tax attorney, $107,000.
So we also mentioned a teaching assistant is a position where there are a lot of entry-level jobs, but they are on the low end of the salary spectrum. They're only making about $30,000 a year. That is so hard to live on nowadays.
It's like, so, I mean, I had roommates for a couple of years when I was younger, not making a lot of money,
Right.
And it really helped offset the cost because you're splitting the rent.
Keeping it to a couple of $100s each
And
person.
now the rent is so much more expensive than
Right.
it was back then.
It's interesting because we have this conversation often, especially when it comes to like daycare.
Ugh. Right.
If a teacher's assistant is making $31,000 a year, how in the world can we expect to have quality staff members or staff members at all caring for our children in daycare?
Or how are people paying for it is the
Right.
flip side of that, right? Now, maybe you can get some sort of subsidy and, you get a tax break. Okay, yeah. But boy, that could be really expensive.
Lori says teachers and TAs are low end and positions are getting cut all over. That's an interesting point. Anita says, if I hadn't retired, my base salary as a corrections officer would be over $95,000. Wow.
And that's a base salary.
And then consider the overtime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be nice.
Sometimes they get forced overtime too in those positions. So, and that's not something that I think a lot of people love either, but it does exist. They do
Forced
the forced
overtime?
overtime.
Yeah. In the Erie County Holding Center, it was a big problem because they were so short-staffed for so long. I remember talking to Sheriff Garcia when he first started and took over for Sheriff Howard.
And that was something that a lot of people had told him they were
Exactly.
struggling with, right?
They were kind of at a point where it was like burnout.
Forced overtime is hard because like if you have
You're forced to
something
work.
well, right, and if you have something planned or you have children or you have whatever,
Right.
certain responsibilities,
Sarah, good morning. Glad you're with us as usual. Daycare workers have such a tough job, and it's not something just anyone can do. I wish the government would subsidize and pay these people more and relieve families of the high costs. Right. We talk about this endless cycle, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so expensive for families, mom and dad having to figure out if they're going to stay home or work to pay for childcare. Childcares are struggling to stay open because they're not making a lot of money trying to keep the cost low for mom and dad, which then means that the childcare personnel that they have are not being paid a lot of money because they simply can't pay them.
Yeah.
So it just continues to go over and over and
and
over.
people are relying on their family members because they have nobody else,
Right. Cheryl, good morning. Rents are so high, it's sad, as many people aren't paid enough to even pay for essentials they need to bring costs down to an affordable level across the board.
Part of the reason why we do the price tracker stuff every week to try to find cheaper prices for people because there's nothing I can do to change your rent, unfortunately. Wish I could, but I can try to help you save a few bucks on eggs, milk,
Yeah, sure.
bread.
Brown eggs.
Today we did brown eggs. Are there any cuppies out there who do brown eggs versus white eggs? You and I are white egg people.
Yeah, I mean,
only because they're cheaper.
you know what I like sometimes? Duck eggs. Delicious. They're good. They're very creamy. Why are you looking at me like that?
Yes.
They sound like the farmer's market. Maybe a farmer intentionally has duck eggs. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to a duck's nest and taking the eggs.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I would never.
A duck lays its eggs near Ed's boat. He's like,
Oh my gosh! Wait. Speaking of, we're trying to get the dock ready, the slip ready.
Yeah.
The geese had their babies.
Yeah.
And
They're
they are
cute.
so cute.
We saw some yesterday in Forest Lawn too. My mom's like, they're a little bit bigger. They're not really babies anymore, but they are cute.
Diane says, my daughter-in-law gets duck eggs from her neighbor.
Okay, so I was just making a face to give you a hard time. I know that doesn't sound like me. But I used to have a guy I worked with at one of my old stations who had free range chickens.
Yeah.
And he said to me, he's like, my chickens are happier. Those eggs taste better because your chickens are happier.
Well,
and he would bring me a carton of eggs and they were all colors of the rainbow.
But you're saying that the brown eggs are they're happier.
Okay. No, I'm just saying. So there was a story about why brown eggs cost more, which is kind of what got me going on this. And it was that it costs more to feed and keep happy, which I'm assuming means keep laying and keep whatever, the eggs that produce the brown eggs. Or the chickens that produce the brown eggs. So then the cost gets passed on to consumers. But it's funny because I don't buy brown eggs. So then I was telling Ed, I started tracking them. And boy, there's a million kinds of brown eggs. Like regular brown eggs that you can just get that are brown eggs. And then they're still a little more expensive. Then you've got cage free. Then you've got free range. Then you've got all your organic different kinds. And I'm like, so I kind of like gave some prices, found the best I could. And I said, if one of these things is important to you, you're going to have to do a little more research yourself because there's so many kinds out there. I couldn't fit them all in the graphic.
Anita says, happy hen, better egg. Perhaps.
That's allegedly, yeah, I don't know.
Lori says, I get gorgeous multicolored eggs from a friend, honey and maple syrup too. That sounds great.
And that's what I used to get these. They were like green, blue, orange.
That's so cool.
It was super cool.
Jeff Baker echoing my sentiment from earlier this morning that you, my dear friend, are a brown egg.
Ed said I was a brown egg because what did it say again?
That you were expensive to feed, but kept happy.
Correct. Yeah.
Anita says, now I'm hungry. Lauren, I buy regular white eggs. Duck eggs are good, but I don't put much effort into eggs.
We eat so many eggs.
We do too. We do a lot of hard-boiled eggs.
So do I.
I think it's because they're just easy to grab.
I do a lot of hard-boiled eggs. Paul likes to have like scrambled eggs or make an omelet, puts a bunch of veggies in it.
Russell is a poached egg kind of guy. I don't really love that because I don't really like having the yolks run.
Oh, well, you don't like a fried egg?
I love scrambled
I love
eggs.
those. On the weekend, that's what I'll do. I'll do a fried egg. Wait, okay, so a poached egg, that's in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just kind of like wiggle around the white a little bit, right?
Yeah, it kind of gets like soft boiled, basically.
Oh, see, I never really do those.
Is that? I don't think it's soft
No, those are
boiled.
two different things.
Yeah.
But
This
the
is like
poached is you put it in boiling
right.
water?
And then it gets like hard on the edges a little bit, and then you've got.
I remember we used to call them gooey eggs when I was growing up, like a little kid.
That makes sense.
But
Dippy eggs.
Dippy eggs. Yeah, we call them dippy eggs too. But I don't remember. Like, I've never actually made them.
I don't love them.
I don't know that I'd be good at it.
They're not my favorite. But Russ, when he does make them, puts like really good seasoning on them. You should tell Paul about this. You know he loves seasoning. And that makes all the difference.
Yes, this is what we called them when I was a kid. Gooey egg on toast.
Parker's Pizzas, I like a pulled pork sandwich with an over easy egg on top. So good.
Oh, okay.
My mom says they're easy to make.
I would do a fried egg, and that's what I always do. Sunny side up, right?
Okay.
That's what I always make. Sunny side up. Paul makes the over easy, where you flip them the one time.
Yeah, he likes those too, Russ.
Paul loves those.
Poached eggs are the best, Jeanette says. How long, Sarah says. I don't know.
Mom,
Jan?
do you put it right into boiling water, right?
Yeah. And then you kind of like in a frying pan.
If one of our moms could get back to Sarah, that would be great.
Okay, let's
Help. It's a lifeline.
help me help you. Jefferson Avenue is coming back alive. At least that's the hope. From the federal government now investing more than $140 million into this community. So what would you like to see done here? There was this big panel discussion yesterday with a number of business owners, community stakeholders, and Tom Perez, who is a senior advisor to President Biden and a Western New Yorker, we should point out, who is now in the president's ear, really talking about this community.
Kind of nice to have somebody who's a local, you know what I mean? Like in that position, because he knows the area and can kind of put things into a little bit of context.
Well, and my question was, what is the White House doing to break down these systemic issues that have created the problems that persist today?
Yeah.
And, you know, he basically said that the president offered an executive order based in equity that would allow for certain neighborhoods to be restored to their great extent after being decimated by years of systems and processes, et cetera.
Well, and so there's 140 million federal dollars coming to Buffalo. Some of it is dedicated for that area. So people were asked yesterday, neighbors who live there were asked yesterday, this panel, what would you like to see there? Investment. We were asking people before too, restaurants, stores. People mentioned bringing shopping back to that area.
You know, it's interesting too, because in talking, you know, obviously we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of the shooting at Tops based in racism and white supremacy. I was talking to Thomas Buford, who's the CEO of the Urban League, but he's also heading up this Buffalo Community Response Fund. And a lot of the donations that you contributed in the wake of the shooting were given to that fund. And they've got about $6 million that they're sitting on right now. And they will not and have not invested any of that money that was donated and won't do it until they are satisfied that the money that they are using, that you donated, is going to better the community.
Right, the right plan.
Exactly.
I would love to see a little like strip area there where you can do a little bit of shopping, maybe some cute little boutiques. Maybe we try to find a bigger quote unquote anchor store. And I don't really mean like a huge, you know, I'm not talking about a Crate and Barrel, but something a little bit bigger, you know?
You know, I mean, Jefferson Avenue was a booming place back in the day. And people would come from all over the city, Broadway, Jefferson. I mean, these were huge shopping districts really in downtown Buffalo. And so people would come on over and get everything that they needed.
Well, and you know what, just to play the flip side, right? Be a little bit of a devil's advocate here. So this big DOT project about the 33, you know, covering the 33 and working to try to like reunite something. There's a lot of pushback on that now too. So, and I just feel like, listen, whichever way you land on it, I understand. I see both sides. That being said, though, it is so hard to come up with something that everybody's going to agree on. And how do we decide what's right?
Well, I think
everybody was on board with this for a while, it seemed like, and then it kind of...
I think a lot of the pushback on the 33 plan is the environmental impact. And the people who live along Humboldt Parkway...
Well, that is the pushback, yeah. And I get that because you've got a tunnel. So that means we are basically letting out kind of like condensed, what would you call it? Emissions, right, from a car, right? So that's their argument. That's the concern. And I get that too. But like, how do you do that neighborhood connection then too? There's just a lot of questions.
Quickly, Shirley says maybe something for teenagers.
I like that.
Anita wondering what's the actual purpose of covering the 33? It's to reconnect that neighborhood that was cut in half by the 33.
Do you remember the woman? She recently passed away, Stephanie, what's her name? Better Jeter, I think that was her name. She really wanted to see MLK Park connected through that by covering the 30 up to Delaware Park.
Oh, and I think that was the original plan from Olmsted, right? Was to have
mean,
the city
yeah,
connected with
to ha-
parks.
yes, right. And so like there are certain areas that probably wasn't going to work with what's happened, right? Exactly. You'd have to kind of wiggle yourself
Mhm.
around. But theoretically, like you'd be pretty close.
We got to get the show on the road here. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate you each morning. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Have a great day.